I've been running my own clothing brand for the past 8 years, and I decided to make a video here where I wanted to talk to you about the unfiltered truth about what it's been like trying to make a successful clothing brand. Because I think that so many people who get started in this space have absolutely no idea what they're getting themselves into, and there's just not enough content online talking about the raw truth, the reality of what it's like in this space. I think that most people getting into this space don't realize how hard it is. They don't realize how much money it's going to cost. They don't realize just how difficult it is competing in this industry because there are so many people that you're competing alongside with. And so I'm just going to give it to you off the cuff here, okay? This video is going to be different from all my other ones with all the crazy effects and stuff on it. This one's just going to be legit. We're going to talk about the real deal here, and I hope you enjoy it. Apparel Success is sponsored by my buds over at DesignCrowd, and if you struggle with designs, I really recommend that you try them out. You post a project on DesignCrowd. Amazing designers from all over the world are going to compete for your project. You choose the winner, then you get that design plus revisions. I've sold thousands of these designs on my website, and I got them all made through DesignCrowd. If you're interested, head over to designcrowd.com/apparel to learn about the special offer that I have for you, or just use the discount code apparel when you post a project on DesignCrowd. All right, so I apologize in advance if this video comes across a little bit depressing, but it's not meant to be. It's just meant to inform you. That's all that it's meant to do. And I realize that my tone might get a little bit dark talking about this type of stuff, but I just want this to be as raw as I possibly can, because I've seen a lot of clothing brand owners just get involved in really bad situations with their brand, and it's simply because they were so uninformed. Like, to be completely honest, what it looks like to me watching new clothing brands start up their brand from ground zero who have never done this before, it's almost like watching a herd of sheep just being like herded off a cliff. They have no idea, and they're so optimistic, but they're uninformed as to what it actually takes to be successful. And they just have this really, really great attitude to start. Then, like Mike Tyson says, everybody knows what they're going to do until they get punched in the face. That happens like in the first day running your brand, the first week, and you realize just how hard it all is. And so all of these thoughts came out of, I was sitting around and I was realizing how few new clothing brands or entrepreneurs in general truly understand economics, which is basically like how we value different resources in our society. And a lot of clothing brand owners don't understand that there's still an economics at play when you're trying to grow your brand. And what I mean by this is that the way people value your brand is how much survival and replication value your brand is offering them. How rare is the resource that you're offering? How valuable is the resource that you're offering? If people can't see the value in your clothing brand on either a survival level or on a replication level, they're probably not going to see any value in it to begin with. And also, the fact that there's such a low barrier to entry in this space, and anybody can get started with a $25 t-shirt that they're selling that cost them $7 to make it, means that there's a crazy amount of competition out there. And if you add on to that the fact that we're competing with the whole world now, whereas maybe 30 years ago, you'd only be competing with other local clothing brands because other clothing brands didn't have access to your community via the internet. Now you're competing with thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands and millions of other brands online that are all trying to be cool, get the sales for their brand. And then you've got these clothing brands that are just starting out that are like, why don't I have any sales for my brand? I don't understand. And as long as you don't understand, you can't start solving the problem. In a way, this video should almost ease your mind a little bit, because by understanding how difficult it is, you can stop creating these super unrealistic expectations for your brand that so many entrepreneurs have. Like, so many entrepreneurs believe that creating $1 million brand online is easy these days because their TikTok feed is filling their brain with this idea that becoming successful on social media is this super easy thing. And if you're not making $30,000 a month with your brand right away, that you're like some idiot. And it's not true at all. In the internet era, and not in the internet era is equally as difficult. It's really, really hard to build a successful brand online. You need to get market share. You need to get eyeballs on all of your free content on TikTok, on YouTube, on Instagram. And even if you get those eyeballs, converting them into customers, showing that you have a product, all of that is an art form as much as it is a science. And getting $30,000 a month regularly is not like some easy thing to do. The reality is that if you're starting up a clothing brand and you don't have something unique to leverage within that brand, you're not going to be successful. Guaranteed. If you start up a clothing brand and you don't have something about your clothing brand that has a unique, special quality to leverage inside of your brand, you won't be successful. You'll never gain sales. You'll never be able to make any sales in this space. I guarantee it. And what I mean specifically by things to leverage are unique designs that nobody else is able to do, capable of doing, or has ever seen before. Something truly unique there. Maybe you have celebrities and influencers that have supported your brand that are somewhat difficult to acquire, somewhat difficult to attain. That would be something that you can leverage within your brand. Maybe you have a brand concept that has just never been done before and it's super unique, and it's also for a blue ocean market where people genuinely are able to attach their identity to your brand and resonate with it fully. That can be something to leverage. But I can't tell you the amount of clothing brands that don't have any of these things, and they're completely unaware of that. There's a great saying here, which is exceptional outcomes require exceptional behaviors. You can't expect to get amazing results with something if you're not doing something amazing to create those results. And a lot of this has to do with just simply doing things that other people aren't willing to do or aren't capable of doing. And that is how you're able to compete in a crowd. If you look at sports, the teams that do the best are leveraging the best players in the world who are capable of doing things that no other players in the world are capable of doing. Those are always the teams that tend to win. They have something about their team that all of the other teams don't have. And it's the same thing in this space. I know it's something that not a lot of people like to think about is viewing this space in terms of a sport or in terms of a competition. But the reality is that if you want to get good results in it, you kind of need to compete and you kind of need to view it as a sport. If you're doing something with your clothing brand that anybody could do, why would anybody want to buy it? What makes your brand special? The definition of having a unique standout brand, excuse me, is doing something that nobody else can do, is capable of doing, or is something hard to achieve, hard to acquire. You have assets within your brand that are hard to acquire. You're creating a barrier to entry for any other competition to want to compete with you. So rather than just rambling here and just talking and making it seem like I'm talking completely out of my ass, how did I do this for my own clothing brand? Well, the way that I was able to get any above average results at all, like having a $70,000 a month for my brand, was through acquiring things for my brand that are difficult to acquire. Like getting specific celebrity and influencer endorsements that require a lot of hard work, understanding a lot of subtleties in terms of communication with those influencers and with those celebrities, understanding how to handle that relationship, and acquiring those things for my brand over multiple years. That's not something easy to do that just anybody could come into my space and do. And so when I acquired those assets, which the assets would be photos of celebrities and influencers wearing my brand, it made my brand stand out in my space. It gave my brand credibility. It gave my brand a certain degree of separation from any of the other brands that are just starting out. So that, in combination with a brand concept that's going after an audience that's never really been sold to in this way, and connecting with that in a way that's legit, where they understand the humor in it and the humor is perfectly aligned with who they are, that is one of the ways that I was able to actually gain any sort of market share in this space at all for my clothing brand. And another thing is just mentally, your brand is going to eat at you. It's going to be stressful trying to grow a brand. There's going to be tons of uncertainty, tons of months where you as a clothing brand owner feel like you're just not enough, like you just can't do it. And you've tried everything, and for whatever reason, it's just not made for you. You're going to have those types of thoughts, those types of experiences, and all of the glamour that's put on these multi-million-dollar brands, you don't see that, but they went through those same phases themselves while they were trying to grow their business. Taking risks, investing in inventory, taking risks, posting content on social media. You have no idea how it's going to do, how people are going to perceive you. All of these things are going to be really, really difficult to deal with mentally. And I'm just trying to get you prepared for it because it's all a part of this whole crazy journey of trying to build a brand. And I'll tell you a quick story here. This is a bit vulnerable of me, but I remember there was one Black Friday about 3 or 4 years ago where I was seeing a girlfriend at the time, and I was super excited for this Black Friday. I thought it was going to absolutely crush. The year before, I did like $50,000 in sales, and I was like, oh my God, this year I'm going to do 70 or 80 or $100,000 in sales. And for whatever reason, that Black Friday just kind of flopped for me, and I ended up doing like 30,000, which was less than the previous year. And I remember just like, oh my God, how am I going to bring this to the YouTube channel and talk about it? And just like, is everything going down? Is everything crashing? Like the demand isn't there anymore. And I remember just like embarrassingly complaining to my girlfriend at the time about it and being just like a wimp about it. I was just like so stressed out, just freaking out about my business. And this has happened multiple times while running my brand. Like these just sort of like moments of intense stress, just not knowing how things are going to go. And what I believe is that you learn how to deal with those things better. And obviously your character sort of develops through those experiences, but there's still nevertheless things that you have to go through. So what I want this video to do is just bring us together here to understand that we're both human beings and that going through this process is super humbling. And if you're not successful with your brand right now, it's totally okay. If you're stressed out of your mind right now, it's totally okay. Like if you're not getting the results that you want and you feel like it's taking a hit out of your ego, it's completely cool. I've been there. I continue to experience it on a regular basis, and everybody else who's in this space does as well. It's just nobody likes to talk about it. Everybody posts their wins on Instagram. Nobody posts their failures regularly on Instagram. It's just the best of the best experiences all the time. Everybody's showing all of the great things that are always going on, when in reality, in entrepreneurship, 90% of the time is struggle, stress, constant pain, constant uncertainty, and constant work. That's what it is. That's the reality of it. I mean, by all means, take your own worldview and try and map it onto your own experience of entrepreneurship and see if maybe it's a different experience for you. I'm just telling you my experience. I've got dozens and dozens of friends that are all running their own businesses, multi-million-dollar businesses, some of them. And this is just sort of the reality of entrepreneurship. This is the things that we go through. And so, I just like coming on here and I like sharing this because I feel like it's important to know this stuff in order to succeed in it. It's like, I don't want a gym coach or a personal trainer who's going to tell me it's going to be easy, because I know it's not going to be easy. If I want to be fit, I have to go to the gym, I have to work really hard, and I have to eat really healthy and be disciplined. And it's very similar in this space. So there's no particular reason I made this video other than the fact that I wanted to share with you genuinely some things that were on my mind without having to filter it. A lot of the videos on this channel, it's for clothing brand owners. And so I cater it specifically to how to build a successful clothing brand and all of this really specific content. But in this one, I just kind of wanted to get in front of you here and talk to you openly and sort of use it as an outlet for me. And I wonder if any of you guys resonate with this or just sort of have had the same experience or realizations along your own journey. I'd love to hear in the comments below. Let me know. And yeah. I hope you enjoyed. If you're thinking about running your own brand or you're already running one, check out the Apparel Success Mastermind. It's a monthly subscription. It's only $47 a month. You get direct access to me, access to other clothing brand owners. We do exclusive live streams every month where I do a spotlight brand review, and we do live Q&A, and you get access to all my courses. If you're interested, you can learn more at apparelsuccessmastermind.com. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.